Okay, is everybody ready to engage in the extreme sport of food systems planning? Up there in the land of giant cabbages, 6-month winters, and sporadic road systems, otherwise known as Alaska. Okay, important things to know about Alaska. It's really big. It really is that big. It's also really small. We only have 720,000 people in our state right now. It's also very remote. I live in the freezer section of the United States of America. Not only that, we have a very limited road system. There are some communities in the state of Alaska that you can only get to by boat or by airplane, and those end up being about as big as your car. This is important. You'll see why in a minute. This is my office in downtown Anchorage. Yes, those are solar panels. We do like alternative energy in Alaska. Ironically, we have some of the highest fuel prices in the nation in Alaska, and that's why we like solar, wind, hydro, anything. You might have heard some crazy rumors about Alaska. I put some examples up here on the slide. Not all of these are true, but it is a pretty extreme place nevertheless, especially when it comes to food. So we'll start with farming. Yes, we actually do have an agriculture industry in Alaska. We don't grow enough food for everyone right now. Right now, the USDA estimates that we grow about 5% of the state's food needs. Back in 1955, that was more like 55% of Alaska's food was produced in state, but they only had 210,000 people back then, so it's a little bit easier. This is what a real Alaska farm looks like. We do have a short growing season. It's only about 4 very intense summer months. It is also expensive. Like many things in Alaska, extreme living requires a lot of gear. When it comes to farming, that includes growing under plastic, raising our beds or our soil in order to get a little bit more heat in that soil, building greenhouses, and using grow lamps to try to even out the light and dark cycles. We also have very few large-scale producers. In 2007, almost 70% of the producers in Alaska earned less than $20,000 per year. However, small-scale producers are great for farmers markets. We love farmers markets. They're very popular, not necessarily very profitable, but we love them. Moving on to fishing, Alaska has a lot of fish. In fact, over half of the United States commercially harvested fish come from Alaska. And in recent years, the fishing industry generated about 54,000 jobs. Sport fishing is also very important in Alaska because people love to come up there to go sport fishing, and they pay big money for it. In 2007, sport fishing supported about 16,000 jobs. Not too shabby. Grocery shopping. Everybody does buy something at the grocery store in Alaska. And you know, in Anchorage, it's a hub city of the state. Prices are not too bad there. I don't know how that compares to what you spend for chips, but this is a tale of chips in 3 cities. Moving on to Equok, Alaska, you notice this is a bit further out now into rural Alaska. And this picture was taken a couple of years ago, so the prices might be higher today. But the price of those chips went up from $4.69 about to $6.89. Newtok, Alaska, moving a little bit further out still. This picture was taken last year. Same bag of chips, $8.19. Why is this? Things have to be shipped out, as I said before, and you're talking really small shipments. You're also talking really high fuel prices. Off the road system in Alaska, you're paying anywhere between $3.46 and $10 a gallon. On the road system, it's only between like $3.37 and $4.95. These are 2011 numbers. So you're in Alaska, you're in rural Alaska, what do you do? You're probably going to engage in subsistence. Most people do. something between 70 and 90% of people living in rural Alaska do hunt, fish, and gather things like berries and eggs. Native Alaska culture is based on the stewardship of land and natural resources. Life out there does revolve around managing the land and wildlife populations. If you are not native and you move out there, then that's the lifestyle that you're choosing. So, not everybody lives on, nobody lives entirely on subsistence. However, there are supplementing, as I said, buying food through grocery store, whatever. Not that there's actually a grocery store in some of these communities. It might be just a little store where things get shipped in now and then. We're also starting to see community gardens in some of rural Alaskan communities to supplement the food there. Brand new, in the last 2 years, we formed a state food policy council. In a tiny state where I feel like I'm really lucky if I get 30 people at a community meeting, 180 people showed up to form this group when they first started getting together. It was very exciting, a lot of interest. And we put together a little starter kit for our planners up there in Alaska. You want to get into food systems planning? Great, think about food when you're doing your plans. I have seen food in comprehensive plans, energy plans, economic development strategies, and even recreation and tourism plans. Get it into the policies, revise your regulations. Most places in Alaska actually don't have zoning, but some places do. And where we do, we're trying to get more ag-friendly zoning. Rural areas also want to try to have leave policies that allow them to take leave from school or jobs to do the subsistence practices. And finally, get money and go do projects, build stuff. Bottom line, if we can do it in Alaska, anybody can. And my take-home message to you: since moving up to Alaska, I have been impressed at what an incredibly resource-rich country the United States is. Whether it's natural resources, human resources, built infrastructure, we are an incredibly rich country. And whatever your home situation is, wherever you live in the world, please appreciate what you've got and put those resources to good use. One tiny last thing. Those are real Alaska cabbages. That's it.
Well, I used to teach a workshop called Speaker Tips, and one of the things I used to tell, particularly women, you know, that it's okay to say, you know, I love this stuff and you're going to too. Well, apparently Heather got that memo. So. All right, our next speaker, and by the way, I think you'll be able to advance. I'm going to move this up onto the podium. I think you'll be able to advance with that a little more smoothly. Okay, so our next speaker is Ryan Cook, AICP, and he is a senior planner and a lead green associate with Parsons Brinkerhoff in Scottsdale, Arizona. And you are joined with two other presenters, Meg Kabaroth, who's a sustainability manager, and Amy Ford Wagner, who's a senior planner, also with Parsons Brinkerhoff. We should get you out of here.